You're with me everywhere I go.
Hey everybody, today's guest is my good friend, Ray Carlisle, guitarist and vocalist for the Laramie, Wyoming punk rock band, Teenage Bottlerocket. Ray and I break down the single, Everything to Me, taken from their 2019 Fat Records release, Stay Rad. For what's become a running theme on Chris DeMakes a Podcast, Ray talks about how the lyrics for Everything to Me were written in about 5 minutes in one pen-to-paper sitting, and how the music to the song came shortly thereafter. He lets us in on the fact that the band pushes all egos aside when recording and will play each other's instruments or parts of a song if it feels better suited towards that particular member. Ray shares how his son Milo was a shining light during a really tough time in his life, and how that was one of the many inspirations for how this song ultimately came about. He shed some light on what each member of the band's strengths are, and how producer Andrew Berlin is pretty much the perfect producer for Teenage Bottlerocket. For all this and much more, stay tuned and stay rad.
Hey, hey, have you heard? Chris DeMakes a Podcast. Hey, hey, have you heard? Chris DeMakes a Podcast. Hey, hey, have you heard? Chris DeMakes a Podcast. Hey, hey, have you heard? Chris DeMakes a Podcast.
Ray looks good. It's only 9 o'clock in the morning out in, where are you at? You in Wyoming right now?
I'm in Colorado.
Oh, you're in Colorado. You in Fort Collins?
I'm close to Fort Collins and Wellington, so kinda.
Well, you're bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. Thanks for hopping on so early.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This is I've become quite a fan of the podcast, and I definitely enjoy it. And I'm looking forward to the next moments of my life.
Hell yeah, man. Well, I'd like to give a little bit of history between our bands. It was crazy to think that there was a punk rock scene in the 90s in Laramie, Wyoming, of all places, but there was.
Absolutely.
And it was crazy. And Less Than Jake had rolled through there. We had played with your first band, Homeless Wonders, that you and your brother Brandon had started. And of course, we had played with the Lillingtons that Cody was in. So it was just kind of this crisscross. But after Homeless Wonders broke up, you formed Teenage Bottlerocket in 2000. You guys have done 8 full-length records, beginning in 2003 with Another Way. Cody Templeman, guitarist, he joined in 2005 for the record Total. And then bassist Miguel Chen came on in 2008 for Warning Device. So I wanted to give that little rundown. Everything to Me is on Stay Rad, which is the first album to feature drummer Darren Chuka. And he did a great job. So you guys did this one at the Blasting Room with Andrew Berlin. Andrew is an amazing engineer, mixer, and producer over there, and he works with Bill Stevenson, of course, who owns the Blasting Room, along with Jason Livermore. So how did it turn out? Because I know you've done stuff with Bill and Jason. How did it turn out that you guys work with Andrew on this record?
Well, as you mentioned before, Homeless Wonders played with Less Than Jake right around the same time the Blasting Room started. And so Homeless Wonders, same with Teenage Bottlerocket, we're close to the Blasting Room, and bands were already starting to record there. And I mean, there's a Fire in the Sky that's like, the Descendants dudes own a studio in Fort Collins. Let's scrounge up enough money to record there for a day. And
get half a song in.
And that's whenever Jason was just learning how to turn the knobs. And by the time the Homeless Wonders broke up, we still had dreams of recording at the Blasting Room, and we got a chance to record there for a split 7-inch with our friends in this band, Bill the Welder.
Of course.
And that was like, Jason had moved on to be way more expensive. So he was driving around a car that Rise Against paid for at this point. And so we had to get the dude that was cheaper, and his name's Andrew Berlin. And he is certainly not shittier, if that's he's cheaper, better in a lot of ways for us, because I mean, Jason Livermore and us have a big brother relationship. What's up, dickheads? Hi. Why do you want to have feedback right there? Where do you want the simple kiss, Brandon? And Andrew, he listens to us. And
right.
So, anyway, that's sort of the beginning of the relationship was us just not being able to afford Livermore, or definitely not being able to afford Bill. Eventually, we were.
This record sounds great. There's some punch to this recording. I mean, all your recordings for the last 10 years or so, I think, have sounded great. But there's something about this one that sounds a little more immediate. I don't know if you'd agree with that, but it just kind of sounds a little more in your face and a little more like you guys live.
Yeah, it's super slick production on Stay Rad. Real bass heavy. Guitars are mixed in there perfectly, but there's no it's just, I'm super happy with the way it turned out. So everything to me is the production's amazing. I love it, but it's kind of radio friendly in a weird way, just polished.
Yeah, I didn't so much pick up on that. Now that you say it, though, it kind of makes sense. And I guess you're looking to maybe to get a little more of that grit back, which is understandable.
That definitely happened.
But I think Stay Rad sounds great, and I think the production definitely lends itself to the song we're going to get into today, Everything to Me. And I just want to say, I can't believe how fast the years are flying. But of course, Milo, Ray's son, has been out on numerous tours. On Warped Tour, he was crowned the prom king on Warped Tour one year. We had a Warped Tour prom after party one evening, and Milo was crowned the king. And he's just, I gotta say, this song is an homage to Ray's son Milo, and the video features him. I so relate to your relationship with your son because I had that with my father. My father wasn't on a punk rock tour crisscrossing the country, but I was in bars. I was at VFW halls and wedding ceremonies. My mom and dad were entertainers, and that has just had such a lasting impact on me, and your son's never going to forget that.
Milo has become quite the drummer. He's a good drummer. And a lot of people ask me, is he going to eventually play drums in Teenage Bottlerocket? And I'm like, he's going to be in a band better than Teenage Bottlerocket. That's the plan for Deeds.
That's awesome. Well, if I would have seen this video, before I had kids, I'm sure I would have liked it or whatever, but I wouldn't have felt the connection to this song. Now that I have children, I understand it on that deeper emotional level, and just how, music goes in cycles. And God rest his soul. Your brother Brandon, he had tragically passed away in 2015, and it's funny, you just watching the video and just seeing your son, and it's like, your son's eventually going to pass the music on, and it just keeps going. And I just I don't know. There's something about this tune that kind of gives me the lump in the throat when I was going through it. The more I read through the lyrics and studied it. So it's and again, like I said, having kids, it really hits home.
Yeah, I've never really thought about that way with like Milo or me being a grandpa. But man, I do think about how much I love Milo so much. And when Brandon passed away, I think about how my dad must have felt. And it's so intense. And you don't know that feeling unless you have kids. Just like if something happened to my kid, holy shit. And then something happened to my dad's kid. So I can't relate completely, thank God. But
yeah. Well, and also for those listeners that don't know, Ray and Brandon were twin brothers. So,
right.
Which I don't have a twin, but I have aunts that are twins, and I've talked to numerous twins in my life. There's a connection between twins that can't be explained.
Yeah, it was. We were the cutest twin band since Nelson, and
I can vouch for that. Well, I'll tell you something else about siblings. The Interrupters are a great example. That band is just so tight, and I mean, you were locked with your brother. You can just feel where each other's going to go musically, and I always knew that about you guys when I'd see the band. You guys were just so locked in together. The other thing about this track, the more I listen to it, it's really about the lyric, okay? And it's about the sentiment, because going through it, it is the same three chords the whole song, like classic Ramones,
right? Okay,
it's about the dynamics. It's where Cody does the single lead notes in the choruses and the things that are floating in and out. It doesn't need, and it was I didn't even pick up that it was the same progression until I got the guitar out, and that's when it hit me. That's what's cool about the tune, is you don't really know it until you go, wait a second, it doesn't change, but it doesn't have to.
Right. The inspiration for the song from the get-go was Shellac an alkaline trio, and they always go do do ba do 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 ba do do ba do do, and you hit your guitars on the kick drum. So chin chin pa chin chin pa chin chin pa chin 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 pa chin chin pa chin chin chin, and it's just that like Fugazi will do it for 12 minutes. It's like the best song ever. And I was like, how come these bands, like, it's not just Shellac, Fugazi, and Alkaline Trio that are allowed to do that. I can do it too. And that's how the song was born.
Yeah. Right. It must be a regional thing, Ray, because you're going jun jun, and I wrote DUNT, dun 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 in my notes.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's Coke and it's freaking pop, man. Dun dun, man.
Yeah, well, we'll agree to disagree here. I'm saying dun dun. You're saying grunt grunt.
Man.
We're talking about the same thing, and we're going to get into the song here in a second. But one other thing I wanted to mention, as I was researching, and it's funny to research your friends. I've known you for going on 25 years, but I did not know, because I don't believe I saw you guys till probably 06, 07 play live. If I did, I don't remember. But I never knew you started out playing bass with Bottlerocket.
Totally, yeah. Homeless Wonders broke up, and we had a hard time finding a bass player. Me and Brandon still wanted to rock, and then we just quickly realized, like, well, guitar players are everywhere. I'll go to bass if it's that big of a deal.
You had a hard time finding a bass player in Laramie, Wyoming? I can't imagine why.
Right, and so I just found it was the adjust. Also, I love playing bass. Me and Cody have a side project band called Sack. And Sack does not fuck around at all. And I play bass in Sack. I was just going through some Sack songs before this interview. It's just such a great time. Like Rob Young and Homeless Wonders had a weird Marshall half stack that was a bass amp. And I had gone through years of being in a band, watching every single band I love have an Ampeg 8x10 and also a P bass like Dee Dee Ramone and Teenage Bottlerocket started. Like, let's have songs that you said, like you said, 3-chord songs. We're going to have simple songs, and it's not going to be about showing off how good we are at our instruments anymore. Let's just play these 3 chords and see if we could come up with something that is more meaningful to us. Let's strip it all down.
And it's awesome because that's why I got into punk rock, because, I was an 80s kid, man. I listened to everything from the Misfits to Yngwie Malmsteen, but I couldn't play like Eddie Van Halen or Yngwie Malmsteen. I tried, and I could do some licks here and there, but I could play 3 chords, and I could play them pretty good. And that was the allure of punk rock, and I kind of see how, you're able to jam with your son. I'm going to be able to jam with my kids soon when they get a little older, and be able to show them 3 chords. They'll be able to get that, that's what I love about it. This track, Everything to Me, is 2 minutes and 56 seconds. It's only a 5-second intro with drums, and it's that beat you're talking about, and basically the dun 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 dun
kick snare, kick
comes
in.
in.
Kick snare, kick snare.
Yeah.
I'll take you with me everywhere I go, from Edmonton down to Mexico. Let you know it's cool to follow your dreams, 'cause kid, you mean everything to me. We're gonna ride our bikes on riding song, and everybody here can sing along. You saved my life and you're cooler than me. None of my friends would disagree, yeah.
I'll take you with me everywhere I go, from Edmonton down to Mexico. Let you know it's cool to follow your dreams, 'cause kid, you mean everything to me. We're going to ride our bikes or write a song, and everybody here can sing along. You saved my life and you're cooler than me. None of my friends would disagree. Yeah. Halfway through this verse, right before the line, we're going to ride our bikes, or right at that line, we're going to ride our bikes or write a song. Miguel kind of plays up an octave.
Yeah.
It's really cool. He's playing the low notes before, and he goes up there for the last 4 lines of the verse.
Mean everything to me. We're gonna ride our bikes on riding song, and everybody here can sing along. You saved my life and you're cooler than me. None of my friends.
Before you get into the lyrics, do you remember that? Was that something that he was always doing when you wrote the track, or did Andrew Berlin have something to do with that?
I just wanted it to get busier and busier with the bass as it went. Let's start simple, and if there's going to be any movement at all, it's going to be on the bass. And I let Miguel sort of come up with his own thing. On the demo, I did some half-step stuff, And it sort of just kicked in right there. And maybe I made the octave and he was just sort of following a similar pattern I did on the demo. But yeah, the original goal was to just kind of get more and more complicated with the bass part, but then everything else stays exactly the same.
We'll talk about that because the bass part does get more complicated, and it's really cool because, again, the song, I like the different changes that it goes through from parts because it is the same progression, but it's what you're doing rhythmically, what Miguel's doing and what Cody's doing with the cool little, single note stuff in the choruses. It's really cool. Do you recall when you wrote the song, was there any hesitance with the other guys or anything with you showing kind of your vulnerability as a person? This song's pretty verbatim and pretty literal. You're putting your heart and your love out on the line. I know they love Milo. He's part of the family. But was there anything like, I don't know about this? Because this is a little different for you guys. This is a pretty emotional song.
No, not at all. I think that everybody just heard it and we're excited, just stimulated.
Right. I mean, this is coming from a band that with songs such as Headbangers, Skate or Die, Bigger Than Kiss,
right. Yeah,
Creature from the Black Metal Lagoon.
Well, there's definitely some jokes in this song. We'll get to in the verse, the beginning of the second verse. I mean, it's not completely,
Right. But what I love about that, the playfulness and the lyrics we're going to get to in a moment, is that it is about your son. And it's almost like, we're never going to be cool as dads, no matter if you're in the best punk rock. I talked to Jim from Pennywise about this, his kids. I'm like, they got to think their dad's cool. He's in Pennywise. They got to see kids with Pennywise shirts on school. It's like, no, they think I'm a dork, but you're able to say some things here that still relate to him being a kid. He's always going to be your child. Right. At the 30-second mark, we get into the full strumming teenage Bottlerocket buzzsaw guitars, and it's that single note thing. The single note lead. It's just the B note.
There it is, yeah.
It's just a high B that Cody's just ringing on there.
It's actually me.
Oh, is it you?
I'm the lead. So I could bust out a one-note lead.
So can I. We got something in common.
So I'm pretty good at it. I just jump down to the seventh fret on the low E string or the high E string, and make it happen.
Yeah, I don't think Yngwie Malmsteen can play a single note though, like you and I can.
Right. No, I know. He's too busy.
He's too good.
Chill out there.
Okay, so that's Ray on the high B note in this interlude, and it's short. It's a very short, and it comes right back into verse 2.
Let me go back for just a second and say that I say I'm going to take you from Edmonton down to Mexico, and that's because our drummer Chuka is from Edmonton, Alberta, and Miguel Chin was born in Mexico City. So I'm name dropping some hometowns.
I knew Darren was from Canada. I didn't know Miguel was from Mexico.
And yeah, Miguel is fluent in Spanish. He lived in Mexico till he was 7 or 8 years old, in Mexico City. And his dad was born in Mexico City. And when you're born from Mexico City, you're called Chilango. Like people from Mexico City are Chilangos. So Miguel's a Chilango. So it's his father. And but also what you said is, my kid's cooler than me. That's more like pertinent to the fact that my friends would rather hang out with my kid than me. Like when Milo's around, my friends, it's not like they're like smoking bowls, but Milo's not poaching their bus.
Well, getting into verse number 2, the dun 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 guitars are there right off the top again. But I noticed right here the bass is more playful. It's still playing the low notes, but there's a few higher notes in here that's not evident on the first verse. So as you said, it's getting busier. It's building with the bass, and you can feel that.
I'm goldfish if you don't brush your teeth. My love for you is deeper than a cavity. You can sleep with both the dogs at night. Stars and satellites.
And then the second half, the bass goes up again here, but even more bass runs. Makes it feel like the song is growing, which it is.
Satellites, let's go to the lake and fish all day. When you're a panther, martin, or a renegade. I'll try not to laugh when you start to cry. I'm 40 years old, you're in junior high.
I I love this first line. It's funny. I'll kill your goldfish if you don't brush your teeth. My love for you is deeper than a cavity. You can sleep with both the dogs at night. We can look for shooting stars and satellites. Let's go to the lake and fish all day. We'll use a panther, martin, or a renegade. I'll try not to laugh when you start to cry. I'm 40 years old. You're in junior high.
So I definitely used the goldfish thing to get Milo to brush his teeth one night. And that was whenever he was a little younger, probably 8 or 9. And I had 409 or something, Ajax or something above his fish tank. Like, it's this, I'm dumping this if you don't start brushing your teeth right now. And he was like, runs as fast as he could. I was like, I'm such a good parent. I'm such a good father.
Hey, everybody, don't you dare go anywhere. There's lots more Chris DeMakes a Podcast after these messages from our sponsors.
With the Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
This is your captain speaking. We've got clear runway and the weather's fine, but we're just going to circle up here a while and get lucky. No, nothing like that. It's just these cash prizes add up quick. So I suggest you sit back, keep your tray table upright, and start getting lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
And now, back to the show.
We have Milo in the video, and he wanted to be in the entire video like he was a member of the band. I'm like, hey, we're going to get some shots like with just the 4 of us. And he kind of acted like a little shithead. And that was something that kind of was awkward. I'm like, here's a song about how much I love you. And like right now we're filming a video and like, you're bugging me. Like, we all want to go home. Filming videos sucks. Let's get this over with. Let's not fight about you being in this shot. He did ask about the save my life line. Like, how did I save your life? And it was awesome. It was great. I'm so happy that I had Milo in my life when Brandon took off, because that's what that's about. And I explained that to Milo, like, this is how you save my life, because things could have got pretty gnarly losing my twin and not have Milo in my life,
When I read that line, Ray, I thought that that's what you meant. I didn't know for certain, and I wasn't going to bring it up. I was going to let you say it if you did, and I'm glad you did. That's that's something kind of hard to talk about, but that line to me, and that's what's so great about music, is we all take something away from it. That line to me, my kids saved my life too. Like, there were distractions and there was things in my life that were put into perspective when you have a child. It's not all about me anymore. You can either be a deadbeat dad or you can be an upstanding dad, and you're an upstanding guy. Your son's at home at night and you're with him. You're not out with your buddies till 3 a.m, nights on end. There's just little things that my kids saved my life in that way. And what you're talking about is so heavy. What happened with Brandon, to be so crushed in one way, but then to look to your right and there's your son Milo there, that had to be comforting on a crazy level.
Yeah. And it was a song. This comes up often on your podcast because I've been quite the listener, and I love listening to people talk about these songs. And a lot of them say this song came fast. Like, I sat down and I wrote this song, and this is certainly no exception to that. These lyrics came out onto the notepad with my pen in my hand in 5 minutes. Like,
that's awesome.
Yeah, this is me looking around in a couple spots. So this is like not like real heavy poetry here. Let's get real moments. And I think the Panther Martin line, I was like, oh yeah, we go fishing because there's a Panther Martin on my kid's table, like, yeah, we had gone fishing. It wasn't like, let me think of things we do real quick. I just looked around my living room like, oh yeah, we do this.
What was the initial inspiration? You love your son. You're close with him. He comes out on tours with you. Well, why did the pen hit the paper in that moment, and 5 minutes later it was done? Do you have any?
I don't know.
Do you know why?
I don't know. I think that maybe I was hammering out the chorus and singing everything to me, and it just was like, whoa, cool. It's about Milo. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It might have happened that way, but I don't recall exactly. But I think that's kind of how it all happened.
Do you remember if the lyrics changed at all?
The lyrics did not change. No. But Alive, they changed because my age changed. And so I have 43-year-olds, you're in junior high. And like, now it's like, I'm 44 years old, you're in high school. And high school, man, like senior high? I don't know what I'm going to say. So
the lyrics are pretty much when you put pen to paper, that's what they were. Did the song go through an evolution at all? Or was this, because this is a pretty different arrangement. I mean, you got a verse, a little interlude, another verse, and then we're in at the 1 minute mark, we're in the first chorus, and then we're going to get into the chorus lyrics here in a moment, but after that, it just does another chorus. It's a different arrangement. Was it discussed in the studio? Did Andrew or the guys say, hey, maybe we should put another verse here, maybe the chorus should come, or was it always written this way? Do you remember?
It was always written this way, exactly. And I think at the end, the Everything to Me part, went longer. I think that it was written so last minute, and I spit it on a tape so quick in my studio, Mission to Shred Studios, and I did the outro chorus too long, and I think that we actually did it in the blasting room that way, and then we floss and fly. We do a lot of floss and flying in what we call it, cut and paste, Control C, Control V, but we call it floss and fly.
Computers are your friends sometimes.
This was just really a floss, and that's it. Just cut it.
Gotcha. Well, no, I love this arrangement, and that's why I asked. I didn't know if it was ever
cool.
This almost seems like it was written this way, because it's non-traditional arrangement. It really isn't. At the 1 minute mark, we're at chorus 1, and in my notes I wrote, and here it comes. Teenage Bottlerocket is known for their killer harmonies, man. You and Cody can you just sing so good together, and there's harmonies, and you don't, up to this point in the song, the 2 verses, there's no harmonies at all, and then bang. And now the harmonies are on the whole chorus. The guitars are full downstroke strumming with this cool counter melody guitar lick throughout.
I'll never turn my back to you. I'll support most everything you do. I'll yell till you get your homework done. I'll keep an eye out when you're playing with your pellet gun. I'm not gonna let you have a phone. I'll show you minor threat talking heads and episodes. I'm trying to be as patient as I can be. Just can you mean everything to me?
I assume that was Cody. Is that you playing that lick there?
That's me playing the lick there. Yeah.
That's you. Okay.
Yeah. So this song I wrote completely like everything except for like some stuff that Miguel did, like we talked about earlier. I kind of let him just like, hey, this is the general idea. Get more and more complicated. And we settled on, not like we settled like, oh, that's good enough, but we took a long ass time to make sure that it was awesome, I guess. And then
I gotta say something about Miguel. He doesn't come up a lot of times in the punk rock circles, but he's a great bassist, man. He's really good. I remember we played Punk Rock Holiday together over in Slovenia. And I just sat on the side of the stage, and I just, how you zone out sometimes. You watch Descendants, you're looking at Bill, or you're looking just at Stefan's hands on the guitar or certain bands. And I really watched him that day, and he's really great. And the stuff he plays in this particular tune is really, really tasteful, so it's kind of cool that you gave him the reins on that and said, hey, kind of take it where you're hearing it,
Totally. We don't really have any egos in the studio when it comes to passing instruments around. I'm afraid to play drums, though. I would be afraid to show Chuka, like, okay, Chuka, come on, how to do this.
You don't want to hear me behind a drum kit.
So, we'll pass the bass back and forth, and it might be Miguel or me or Cody laying something down. I mean, sometimes it's just like, that's good enough, that's cool, and it's like, oh, I'll play bass on the Teenage Bottlerocket portion of a song, and we just kind of forget. We don't really remember. But anyway, Miguel a lot better at bass because he was our merch guy. And I was, like you mentioned earlier, I played bass, and Miguel was our merch guy, and he became the bassist, and I started playing guitar because he wasn't good enough to play guitar.
That's how most bass players start.
Right. He just
there's only 4 strings on this one. There's not 6.
Totally. And if he sucks, we can just kind of turn him down, and he's just the bassist, But that eventually became, a captivating person to watch side stage, and I'm really excited that we have him in our band. and he's become like such a great songwriter, which is nice because Brandon was a songwriter. Brandon wrote a lot of Teenage Bottlerocket songs, and if you were friends with Brandon, he certainly told you about it. but,
I'm not just the drummer, damn it.
yeah. And Miguel has done a great job stepping up his writing game and making his records better.
That's awesome, man.
And I'm super stoked that he's in the band. What just a lovely human being Miguel is, with his Buddhism and his meditation. And
I gotta stop you there real quick. First of all, hello, Miguel, if you're listening. The first time I heard that this guy, Miguel from Teenage Bottlerocket, he does yoga and meditation. You're over here in a tent today at the festival. I'm like, you're killing me here. There's no way. I was drinking with him till 4 a.m. There's no way. And there he is in the tent, and just like going through his poses, and he's the real deal, man. He has his own yoga business, and it's really cool. Jumping back into the tune here, this chorus, it just lifts here, man. At the 1 minute mark, like I said, you get the harmonies, the guitars are downstroked, they're big. The lyric is, "I'll never turn my back to you. I'll support most everything you do." I like that line because I know what that means. I'll yell till you get your homework done. I'll keep an eye out when you're playing with your pellet gun. I'm not going to let you have a phone. I'll show you Minor Threat, Talking Heads, and Methadones. I'll try to be as patient as I can be because, kid, you mean everything to me. And a couple things there. That second line, I totally get that, having kids. And I remember my father saying things like that to me, I'll support pretty much everything you do, but you do this, I'll have your head on a platter. The other line that's interesting is, I could see Minor Threat and, of course, the Methadones, a great punk rock band from Chicago that was born out of the ashes of Screeching Weasel. But Talking Heads was a little bit of a odd man out there. How'd that come in? Does Milo love Talking Heads?
I think that we were watching the Stop Making Sense VHS, where he comes out in the Psycho Killer with the guitar. Yeah. Like I said, this is like stuff that was laying around, and I think that was something that had just happened. Methadones was totally because I needed something to ride with phone. Straight down.
I've been there. Okay.
And I mean, they just happen to be a really awesome punk band with Vapid,
Yeah.
So that worked out, and I think Vapid wrote, "Hey, dude, I heard you named drop Methadones in the song. That's cool." And I was like, "Awesome, you should listen to it." And he's a nice guy. I mean, he's a hero of ours. So. Oh
yeah, of course. He and the band is great. They wrote some of the greatest pop punk songs I think ever. Right after this chorus, okay, you're at 1 minute and 24 seconds. Again, this song's 2 minutes and 56 seconds long. So we're really just shy of the halfway mark here. And you don't get any more verses. It's pretty much all chorus after this with an outro. But at the 1 minute 24 second, the guitar chord rings out. It's just drums going for 4 seconds until 1:28. And then a guitar solo comes in over the chorus chords. And those chords are full downstroke guitars. Okay, just playing the chorus riff. And this cool little, it's that pop punk 3/4 note solo. And I'm assuming that you wrote the song. That's you playing that.
Yeah, that's one of the few leads I get to play in Teenage Bottlerocket.
Yeah.
I hate to do it again, but in the course when I say I'm going to let you have a phone. Now, as a parent, everyone, this is important. And as an adult, I'm addicted to my cell phone. I look at stupid shit on my phone too much. And I'd hate to have my kid be consumed by that. And the reason I use that word consumed is because every kid is now. And it's like, yes, dude, go practice your ollie. Let's go fishing. Let's do anything but stare at our phones. Like, I'm guilty of it, Milo. I don't want you to do that. I mean, it's worse than alcohol.
Yeah, it's funny, you go out to a restaurant or you're out at a shopping mall and you look around and there's groups of people that are there together, but they're not conversing with one another. They're just staring at this piece of metal and plastic in their hand,
So I've caved, and Milo got a phone when he turned 14. And one thing that happened by waiting 14 years to get a phone is he leaves it everywhere because he's always just doing stuff and he's not too hooked on it. But what happens is he'll lay down and he'll be like, Ollie higher on YouTube, and just it gets spirals out of control, and he doesn't go to bed until 2:30 in the morning. And the next morning I wake him up and I don't even know who the hell he is. So I got to get the phone out of his hands at night. I need to be better about it. But I mean, sometimes I'm up at him in the morning, and sometimes at like 9:30, 10 o'clock at night later, man. Like, I can't be a dad right now because I'm sleeping. So I don't get a chance to get the phone from him. So there's some ups and downs to the phone thing now. I mean, of course, if he's somewhere and I don't know where the hell he is, I can call him and figure it out. And I think that waiting years to give him a phone was a good call, because he's just not as interested in it as people that have kids that I've seen that are just constantly doing it because they've had it for a while now. So I encourage parents, and I encourage you to please put off the phone thing if you can, because especially if you're separated or divorced, you're going to fight that one out. Like, man, he's going to have a phone. And it's like, shit, like you got to work on things together, even if you are separated. And that's one of them.
Yeah, I think that's good parenting advice. And I think it's cool that lyric's in the song, in the chorus, because, it's kind of funny. I'm not going to let you have a phone, but it's coming from a place of love, not a place of anger, which the song's about your son, and that's what it's about. What's cool about chorus too, we're immediately into that after that lead, which goes on for like 2 measures, not very very long, but it's just the lick is just so catchy. It makes you feel good. This is almost, this chorus, like a verse. The dun 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 duns are back, but they're not played staccato like eighth notes. They're strummed.
I'll never turn my back to you. I'll support most everything you do. I'll yell till you get your homework done. I'll keep an eye out when you're playing with the pellet gun. I'm not gonna let you have a phone. I'll show you minor threat, talking heads and nothing tongues. I'm trying to be as patient as I can be, 'cause kidding means everything to me. Yeah.
So it's halfway between a chorus and a verse here. It's like, whoa, where'd that come from? And it didn't hit me till a couple listens. I've said this on the show before. A couple listens, like, why does this chorus feel different? And then it hit me. It's like, oh, because we're back to the verse feel, but the guitars are doing that strumming thing with the same dun 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 pattern. Again, the lyric is, I'll never turn my back to you. I'll support most everything you do. I'll yell till you get your homework done. I'll keep an eye out when you're playing with your pellet gun. I'm not going to let you have a phone. I'll show you minor threat, talking heads, and methadones. I'll be as patient as I can be, because kid, you mean everything to me. And I love that Cody goes up, and maybe you too, I couldn't really tell, on the can be. On that time, you go up to that high note, and it just lifts that part. It's awesome.
I'm trying to be as patient as I can be, 'cause kidding means everything to me.
I think it's Rocky IV, and the song goes, hearts on fire. And I always thought it sounded like that. I'm like, is anyone going to say that? Because that's hilarious.
I wouldn't have till you brought it up. Now that's all I'm hearing, Ray. That harmony's really cool there, man. When it goes up, it just lifts. I love it. And then we get into what I'm calling the outro, the refrain. The guitars are strummed with that killer guitar lick, underneath it, just kind of, just hitting you. And you say, you mean everything to me 12 times, but on the 4th, 8th, and 12th times, the melody changes. On the 4th time, throughout the rest of the song, the backing vocals, like a call and response, comes in there. And the song just kind of ends after that.
You mean everything to me. You mean everything to me. You mean everything to me. You mean everything to me.
you're hearing that vocal over and over again, but it doesn't get tedious because, when the backing vocals come in with a call and response, it all works together. It's great.
I'm really happy the way that this song worked out. I mean, let me tell you, this is the first song that was like a focus track on this record. And Cody Templeman is one of the best songwriters in the fucking game here. And he certainly has this pitch that's fucking impeccable. Like, he could do things with his voice that, like, I've seen him sing Headbanger for Freak Out 7 times in a row. And any fucking one of those takes would have been permanent. Could have been a permanent take, like not one fucking mistake. Yeah. And to play in a band with them is awesome. But also, shit, I want to like step up to the plate and be the best songwriter I could be, because I look up to Cody as a songwriter and everything, and I don't want to just get demolished, And to write a record and there's a focus track first, it's sort of unheard of in Teenage Bottlerocket, because Skate or Die is the focus track, or they call me Steve. I can't go through every first focus track of every record, but it's definitely predominantly Cody. That says a lot for this song. Not to suck my own dick here, but that says a lot for this song, And it, like I said, it happened on accident. And it was just me having not really been forced to crank out a song. I was in the mood. I think I smoked a bowl, and it was on. Yeah,
no, that's really cool. And you gave him props, and he does hit some high notes with his voice that only dogs across the river can hear. So he's got that
this pitch to it that like it's cool to hear it high. Like a lot of people see high, and it's got this like ear piercing, like, oh, emo weird or whatever. Yeah. Cody's got a high voice that's like really awesome to hear. Like it's really cool.
He also picks, and that's what I love about you guys. It's not the traditional just, in thirds harmonies. Yeah, that's part of it. But he hits some odd harmonies now and again that are really cool and different to the ear and kind of makes you go, what? And that's definitely something that makes you guys stand out. But, man, I want to thank you for sitting on the hot seat.
Yeah.
I love you, buddy. Thanks so much.
Love you.
Hey, everybody, don't touch that dial. There's plenty more Chris DeMakes a Podcast after a few words from our sponsors.
Hey, this is Aaron from No Simple Road. I'm inviting you to come hang out with Apple, Mel, and I as we talk with the musicians, artists, chefs, authors, and beyond from the world that turns us on. We're reaching into the improvisational music scene, the psychedelic culture, the festival world, and getting to know what makes the people tick that create those scenes. Come join us on the long, strange trip over at No Simple Road.
As we near the end of the show, here's a band you might not know.
Welcome to this week's Band You Might Not Know. If you'd like your band to be considered for Chris DeMakes a Podcast, all you have to do is submit your song via MP3 only and bio to bandyoumightnotknow@gmail.com. This week's featured band is the No Name Ska Band, a 5-piece ska punk powerhouse out of Lake Worth, Florida. The band consists of dual lead vocalists Matt Krug and Ben Childs, Andy Johnson on bass, Andres Valencia on trombone, and Justin Giannoutsos on drums. Here's a snippet of their song, Quit Whining.
You're such a train wreck, we all know it's fake. If you're not happy, then you are to blame. You're the only one to make a change. It's all you. Yes, it's all you. Oh, it's all you. It's all on you. Quit your whining. No one owes you a thing. Quit pointing fingers and look in the mirror. You're the only one to make a change. Quit your whining.
The Wrap with Chris and Chris.
So, Chris, one of the first things I did when you guys started your conversation, you started talking about Wyoming, is I Googled bands from Wyoming, and it was only Teenage Bottlerocket and the associated acts of Teenage Bottlerocket. That's it, man. It's crazy. There were a few country artists I'd never heard of, like some Ledoux guy, I guess, who's like a country legend. And I saw that maybe the Avett brothers were born there, but I don't even think they grew up there. It's crazy how Teenage Bottlerocket is Wyoming, I think.
Yeah, I think Wyoming has the lowest population density in the United States. I believe that's the one state. It is really spread out. Less Than Jake's done a couple shows there. Of course, we did Laramie back in the day. Cheyenne used to have a VFW hall or something we used to play, and we'd stay at this kid's parents' house that put on the shows there. His name was Adam, and then we played Casper Event Center with Bad Religion and Hot Water Music in 2002. That was the last time we were in Wyoming.
Wow. Yeah, I think that's one of the 6 or 7 states the Punchline has never played in. And I don't know if we'll ever get a chance to, unless Teenage Bottlerocket hooks us up with a show in Wyoming or something. I think that's our only chance.
Yeah, but I did mention to Ray during the episode, there was a thriving scene there. It was, you wouldn't think so, but we'd play that VFW hall and there'd be 200-300 kids that would show up because, there was nothing else to do there. So I think a lot of the kids gravitated towards the punk rock bands that were rolling through.
Right. And you and I both know that there are those places all over the country that are little, what do you want to call them? A little jewel in the middle of wherever that people come out to shows, punk rock shows. And we've definitely experienced that. Not necessarily in Wyoming, but a lot of places. I was thinking while you were recording this that on so many levels, there were things that I personally couldn't relate to. I'm not a father, and I'm an only child. So, but I will say I am a child of my parents. And what I was thinking about and kind of laughing to myself is, I bet my dad listens to this Teenage Bottlerocket song and thinks about me.
Yeah, it's... like I said to Ray, it's not a knock on the song, but I definitely wouldn't have felt what I felt for it before I had my children. If I would have heard this song, my son's going to be 5 soon, so 5-6 years ago, it wouldn't have hit me as hard. I'm able to relate to it on a different level, so it's cool. And as verbatim as the lyrics were, before we got into the episode, I was like, I wonder how much there is to be able to talk about this. But there was quite a lot. He talked about the phone, for instance, how he's glad he kept the phone away from him, and it wasn't out of him being a mean father or a strict dad for strict sake. It was he was doing it out of love.
And I know I'm guilty of it, just like anyone else is. But it is wild when you're hanging out with your friends and you look around and like, wow, we're all looking at our phones right now. And sometimes it's good to put those down. And I'm not a parent, but I do think that sounds like pretty good advice to like hold off on the phone as long as possible and make your kid, you know what, get outside and skateboard right now.
Yeah, and that's the cool thing about Ray. He does skateboard with his son. They go fishing. They do things together, and he's and just how he basically, that one line in the song, he talked about how he saved his life, and his son asked him what he meant by that. And losing a sibling, a family member is horrible no matter what. But the connection, again, I don't know this, I'm not a twin, but the connection that twins have is something that they just can't describe to other people. And they were in a band together. It was funny, when we used to do tours with Teenage Bottlerocket, and it's not just them. It's the same thing with the twins and Interrupters. They go everywhere together. They go eat together. They go, walk over to the bathroom together. It's everything. There's just this kinship that you can't explain. And the fact that Milo was there during that time, it gave Ray, purpose and perspective in a very dark time.
Yeah, for sure. A little more on the lighthearted side. I did like him talking about the "I'll kill your goldfish if you don't brush your teeth" line. And what I wanted to say about that is goldfish are pretty badass, man. I know this is like way off on a tangent, but I got goldfish out in this little pond behind my house. And dude, it'll, in the winter, you have those days, it'll go down to 0 degrees or whatever. Spring comes around, that thing thaws out. Those goldfish are swimming around again. I don't know how they do it. It's pretty amazing. I just, sorry, I had to have my goldfish tangent for a second there, but it's also a really funny line in the song.
Well, hopefully we get sponsored by Goldfish on the show, the actual cracker goldfish.
Yeah, I love those. And I think goldfish are pretty cool. And I guess when you have a kid, you got to do what you got to do. I don't think he had any intentions on actually killing the goldfish, but sometimes I guess you got to get kids to brush their teeth.
No, and it sounded like it worked, You could look at that as, well,
yeah,
you're a really mean dad, but nah. The kid might have cried for a second, but in the end, he brushed his teeth and he has good oral hygiene.
Yeah, for sure. I like that you talked about dun-dun versus jun-jun. When you're,
there's a difference.
Yeah, there is. I'm a jun-jun guy. Jun-jun, jun-jun-jun, jun-jun-jun. And I know I know I've talked to you about the bag of chips and a banana, for that, like, no effects style rhythm on guitar. Bag of chips and a banana. Yeah. That's, anyway. Hey, something else that was talked about in here, and I know it's not the merch guy, but they talked about, was it Miguel from the band who got the merch guy promotion?
Yeah, he was playing merch, and then they lost their bass player, and like, handed him a bass to go start playing, But he's really improved over the years, man. He's gotten really good.
Yeah, but I like the idea of the merch guy promotion. I know you guys had was it the tour manager promotion with Matt Yonker?
Well, Matt started out selling our T-shirts. Then he went to tuning the guitars on stage to being promoted to stage manager. Then he started doing our live front of house sound. Then he was the front of house sound combined with being a tour manager. Then he was our day-to-day manager, and then we finally promoted him to drummer.
Yeah, that's the inspiring story. To anyone out there slanging T-shirts or whatever,
yeah.
Hey, someday you could just be in the band. You just got to stick with it. Granted, Matt Yonker was already an awesome drummer in great bands and stuff.
Well, he's taken every other position. I'm a little bit worried he may try to take the singing guitarist position here next.
Yeah, it might come to that, man.
And you don't want to hear me play drums. I can tell you that.
Hell yeah, man. And if anyone hasn't yet, please, on Apple Podcasts, go leave Chris DeMakes a podcast a 5-star review. The more reviews we get, the more people know about our podcast, and that will help us get more and more guests that you want to hear and things like that. And also, follow your host, Chris DeMakes, at @LessThanChrisD on Instagram.
Well, thank you, Chris, for the wonderful plug. I didn't even prod you to say that this week. That's awesome.
Not one bit.
Want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in again this week and for supporting us. We really appreciate it. Thanks to our guest, Ray Carlisle from Teenage Bottlerocket, and we'll see you next week.
Hey guys, it is Ryan. I'm not sure if you know this about me, but I'm a bit of a fun fanatic when I can. I like to work, but I like fun too. It's a thing. And now the truth is out there. I can tell you about my favorite place to have fun. Chumba Casino. They have hundreds of social casino style games to choose from with new games released each week. You can play for free anytime, anywhere. And each day brings a new chance to collect daily bonuses. So join me in the fun. Sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
One Hit Thunder is a podcast where we both celebrate and have a good laugh about bands and artists that had just one hit that we all know. Each week, we're joined by a guest from the world of music or comedy to learn more than you ever thought you would about some songs that you can't forget. And we decide if they brought the One Hit Thunder or were nothing more than a one-hit blunder. Look, if you listen to the show, you're probably going to laugh, and I guarantee you're going to crush next time the bar has music trivia. Tag Team, Jane Child, Meredith Brooks, Looking Glass, Sean Mullins, Eiffel 65, EMF, Crash Test Dummies, Crazy Town, Chumbawamba. We have hundreds of episodes in our back catalog and a new episode each week, so pass the Dutchie, make sure you're connected, and subscribe to One Hit Thunder wherever you get your pods.